Chris Jericho is now doing the overbearingly fake nice character. So he's now the learning tree, and this all stemmed from, as I'm sure you know, Stevie, he was on a pay-per-view with Hook for the FTW Championship, and it wasn't too long ago, I can't remember the pay-per-view name. And then the fans have just started turning on him. This was building for months, but then people are now chanting, "Go home, Jericho, please retire," this kind of thing. He's in his early 50s. He's been with AEW since the start. And now Jericho's come up with this character to almost really wind up that subsect of AEW fans who can't stand him. I know you're watching. I know you're seeing the clips out there of what Jericho's doing. Speak about Chris Jericho's... how malleable he is, basically, in these situations. And also, if you think the fans are right to feel that way about him, or the whole gamut, essentially.
The only way you're going to have longevity in professional wrestling or anything in life is to reinvent yourself to some degree, is to keep growing, keep evolving. And of course, in this case, turning a negative into a positive. That's where Jericho is an amazing worker. You're talking about, I'm not even talking about the physical stuff that people make fun of him, or the ad hominem attacks on his, physical conditioning or the shape that he's in or not in. But what Jericho sees here is an opportunity. The fans are never wrong to feel anyway. They're never wrong to react. They're never wrong to not react. It's up to the talent and the people in creative to figure out a way, like you say, use the word malleable. Philly accent didn't get me that time. Use the term malleable. That's what Jericho's doing here. Jericho is now saying, okay, you hate me. There's no way I can turn on you. And by the way, it's so easy to be hated in wrestling. It's very hard to remain liked and even loved. So what Jericho's doing here is reinventing himself into a gimmick that's even better, maybe the best one he's done since he's gotten to AEW. The one where people accuse him of being swarmy, cocky, and he's done tons of interviews to give him that reputation. So he's just going to milk that, take those as a foundation, and turn it into a TV character, lending people advice, unsolicited, and stuff like that. Also, do you think, this is a very interesting question back to you and the people out there. Do you think Jericho is doing this because AEW, the legends especially backstage, have shared stories privately, and the rumors have gotten out that the younger talent won't listen to the legends nor the veterans? So this is a parody of what's going on in real life backstage. Turning something real up to 11 and just presenting it as an angle on TV. And I bet you Tony Khan doesn't even know he's doing it. Like, Jericho is ribbing the company by doing this.
What's the end game, do you think, with a character like this? Because you can't do it forever. But what's the end game? Does he just go back to Chris Jericho of old? Does it morph into something else?
I think outside of his official last run, maybe as a babyface in a retirement tour or retirement match, I think he could do this forever. He can do this as long as there's a new talent or any talent that he hasn't done this particular segment, angle, match with. These are the kind of things where has he done it? I don't know if he's done it. Just a guess or an idea. Jericho needs to have a headset mic on or a microphone that he holds and give his opponent advice as they're wrestling. I did that with PJ Hawks, Luke Hawks' son, on a couple like house shows for Wildcat, where every time I out wrestled him or outsmarted him, I would grab the microphone and tell him how to avoid that next time. Jerry Lawler did that. He commentated his own match. I see Jericho doing that, but the more that he's hated, hopefully people will tune in to see him hopefully get his ass kicked, which will only give AEW better ratings.
So I think the accusation there's two real points about this, but I think one will be a deep dive for another time. I'll give you the deep dive bit. It's like there's certain professionally outraged people on Twitter who seemingly have nothing better to do than either hate on WWE or hate on AEW, that kind of thing. But I think it's really important to note that that is a microcosm on social media and doesn't really have any impact whatsoever on real life, which is something we can discuss at a later date, as far as just how much social media has changed professional wrestling or reacted to professional wrestling. But the other thing is, it seems that a lot of these people who hate Chris Jericho and have done in AEW for a while is that he is, quote unquote, and I'm sure you've heard this before, accused many people is that he's holding people back. And it's like, surely he's doing the opposite, isn't he? I mean, his star power alone is doing the opposite.
Well, every angle he's ever been in since he's been in there, outside of the initial run, and he had what matches with Kenny Omega, and when they first were birthed as a company, every other one he's been part of a group where he's always deferred to other people in the group. Like, what was it? The Jericho Appreciation Society, the Inner Circle, the MJF stuff. You know, the MJF was with him for a little bit. These are things too, by the way, just advice for young wrestlers out there. And now the learning tree stuff. Now he's interacting with other people. If you cannot hold your own improv, live, or even in a scripted manner to deliver whatever lines believably with somebody like Jericho, then you don't deserve. You need to raise your own game up to Chris and everything he's doing, because I'm sure Chris is in these segments, I haven't seen all of them, kind of showing his ass, as we would say in wrestling, handing off some stuff to people to give back to him. Like, yeah, you're a piece of crap. You suck. Go home, retire, anything. He's giving them that opportunity to shine on him. And if you don't take it, it's up to you. Go take his spot. Go usurp him and use him as a stepping stone to go above. Chris is still making multiple millions of dollars a year, whether you win or not. So that's just my take on it.